'Twas in a little western town an ancient maiden dwelt. Her name was Miss, or Mistress, Brown, or Deborah, or Debbie. She was doomed a spinster pure to be. For soft delights her breast ne'er felt yet, she had watchful ears and eyes for every youthful neighbor, and never did she cease to labor a tripping female to surprise. And why was she so wondrous pure, so stiff, so solemn, so demure? Why did she watch with so much care the roving youth, the wandering fair? The tattler, Fame, has said that she spinster's life had long detested, but 'twas her quiet destiny, never to be molested. And had Miss Debbie's form been grackty, Fame adds, she had not been so chaste. But since for frailty she would roam, she ne'er was taught to look at home. Miss Debbie was of mien demure and blushty, like any maid she could not saucy man endure lest she should be betrayed. She never failed at dance or fair to watch the wily lurcher's snare. At church, she was a model godly, though sometimes she had other eyes than those, uplifted to the skies, leering most oddly. And scandal, ever busy, thought she rarely practiced what she taught. Her dress was always stiff brocade, with laces broad and dear, fine cobwebs, that would thinly shade her shriveled cheek of sallow hue, while, like a spider, her keen eye, which never shed soft pity's tear, small holes in others' gear could spy, and microscopic follies, prying view. And sorely vexed was every simple thing that wandered near her never tiring sting. Miss Debbie had a parrot, who, if fame speaks true, could prate, and tell what neighbors did, and yet the saucy rogue was never chid. Sometimes he talked of roving spouses who wandered from their quiet houses. Sometimes he called a spinster pure by names that virtue can't endure, and sometimes told an ancient dame such tales as made her blush with shame. Then gabbled how a giddy miss would give the boisterous squire a kiss, but chiefly he was taught to cry, who with the parson toyed. Oh fie! This little joke, Miss Debbie taught him, to vex a young and pretty neighbor, but by her scandal zealous labor to shame she brought him. For the old parrot, like his teacher, was but a false and canting preacher, and many a gamesayer had sworn such lessons were not to be borne. At last, Miss Debbie sore was flouted and by her angry neighbors scouted. She never knew 1 hour of rest, of every saucy boor. The jest the young despised her, and the sage looked back on time's impartial page. They knew that youth was given to prove the season of ecstatic joy, that none but cynics would destroy the early buds of love. They also knew that Debbie sighed for charms that envious time denied, that she was vexed with jealous spleen that Hymen passed her by, unseen. For though the spinster's wealth was known, gold will not purchase love alone. She, and her parrot, now were thought the torments of their little sphere, he, because mischievously taught, and she, because a maid austere. In short, she deemed it wise to leave her place, where none remained, to grieve soon, to a distant town removed. Miss Debbie's gold and husband bought, and all she had her parrot taught. Her parrot now no more beloved, was quite forgotten. But, alas, as fate would have it come to pass, her spouse was given to jealous rage, for, both in person and in age, he was the partner of his love. Ordained her second self to prove one day, old Jenkins had been out with merry friends to dine, and, freely talking, had, no doubt, been also free with wine. One said, of all the wanton gay in the whole parish search it round, none like the parson could be found. Where a frail maid was in the way, another thought the parson sure to win the heart of maid or wife, and would have freely pledged his life that young, or old, or rich or poor, none could defy the magic of his roving eye. Jenkins went home, but all the night he dreamed of this strange tale. Yet, blessed he his stars with proud delight, his partner was not young, nor frail. Next morning, at the breakfast table, the parrot, loud as he was able, was heard repeatedly to cry, who with the parson toyed. Oh fie! Old Jenkins listened, and grew pale. The parrot then, more loudly screamed, and Mistress Jenkins heard the tale, and much alarmed she seemed. Trembling she tried to stop his breath, her lips and cheek as pale as death. The more she trembled, still the more old Jenkins viewed her o'er and o'er, and now her yellow cheek was spread with blushes of the deepest red, and now again the parrot's tale made his old tutoress doubly pale, for cowardice and guilt, they say, are the twin brothers of the soul. So Mistress Jenkins, her dismay could not control, while the accuser, now grown bold, thrice o'er, the tale of mischief told. Now Jenkins from the table rose, who with the parson toyed. He cried, "So Mistress Frailty, you must play, and sport, your wanton hours away. And with your gold, a pretty joke, you thought to buy a pleasant cloak, a screen to hide your shame. But no, I will not blind to ruin go, I am no modern spouse, Dicey, gold will not gild disgrace, with me." Some say he seized his fearful bride, and came to blows day after day. The contest dire augmented, with resistless ire, and many a drubbing Debbie bought for mischief, she her parrot taught. Thus, slander turns against its maker, and if this little story reaches a spinster, who her parrot teaches, let her a better task pursue, and hear the certain vengeance view which surely will, in time, o'ertake her.